Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. In the first video, I ran the water line over to our tiny house. Today, I'm going to get the line bedded and insulated. Show you what I mean by bedding. You don't want any open areas underneath your pipe because we're going to be putting, in this case right here, we're going to be putting about 8 feet of backfill back over the top of this. And if it was left like it is, a bit of backfill would go down in here, but it's not tamped or anything. So there would be an enormous amount of pressure right here, right by the valve. And the chances of it leaking are a lot higher. So what we're going to do is toss some fine dirt down here and get that tamped right in this area. We'll tamp it on both sides and get this filled all the way up to the bottom of the pipe. Then we're going to bed the entire thing in sand. This area right here and basically all the way over to there needs to be bedded. And then we'll bed it in sand after that. I got a whole truckload of sand to do that. We want to get it covered as much as possible with sand so that it's not damaged when we start backfilling. It's real good right through here. This was already done. There's actually a couple ledges right here. If you've seen the first video, I show that a little bit. And while we're doing all that, we're going to get the pipe right in the middle of the trench here. And once we have it bedded pretty well, like in this area right here, we're going to cover this whole area with sand right about to here. And then we're going to insulate. Oh, where is that? We're going to insulate from right over here somewhere all the way to the end there. We got to get insulation over anything that is less than 6 feet underground, and that is right where this rock is. All that has to be insulated. So let's start off by getting some of the finer dirt into a bucket and start filling these low areas. And then after that's done, I got a whole bunch of sand in the back of the truck. Okay, I have the big voids filled. Now, what I'm going to do is go get a couple pieces of rebar and pound that in to try to keep this right in the middle of the trench. The reason for that is you want it centered below the insulation. So I'll pound in a couple pieces of rebar pretty much flush with the top of the pipe. Then we're going to put a whole bunch of sand in here, and I got to get at this. This needs to pitch back just a little bit, so it's going to have to come up a hair. But what I'm going to do is take that piece of rebar right there and pound it in right where this pipe needs to come up and strap that pipe nice and straight up against that. Then I'm going to lift it up to where it needs to be, backfill underneath it, get that nice and tamped, maybe put a flat rock under there, and then get some sand in there. Before I get sand in there though, I have to wrap this. I'm going to wrap this up with landscaping fabric so that the hole doesn't get plugged up. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen to this, but before I get sand in this area, this just needs to be wrapped. So let me get that rebar in place, and then I'll show you what it looks like after that. Okay, all done. I have my riser pipe nice and straight. You'll see why I need to do that a little bit later. You could see there's a little bit of air space underneath the pipe here. That's all going to get filled with sand. Once I get a good deal of sand under here, I'll take these rocks out. I'm going to put a little bit more dirt. Well, maybe not. I can just fill that with sand as well. And you can see we have the bubble is all the way up to the top. Not sure if you'll be able to see that or not. And what that'll do is when the water is shut off at the curb stop here, everything that's in the pipe will run down, will run back and out through the hole there. The way it was going down, and we would have a bunch of water stuck down in that elbow, and there's a slight chance that it would freeze. This is all going to get insulated, but the insulation is only going to go, 6 inches that way. I'm going to make the insulation thicker right here in the corner, but don't want to take any chances on the pipe freezing up. Want it all to go back here and drain out. Now, I'm going to put a couple buckets of sand in here real quick. Get one here, well, probably 3 or 4 buckets of sand, which is going to take a while. I'm still on restriction from having my appendix out. I had my appendix out, 12 days ago, and they want me on 20 pounds or less for a full month. I don't know if this is 20 pounds or less, but what I'm going to do, I have the gator backed up to the truck. My tailgates are at exactly the same height, so I'm going to roll the buckets of sand onto the gator and then pull that around to here, and then I will fill smaller buckets from the 5-gallon buckets and just keep going back and forth and get this filled up. So let's start doing that real quick. We'll get this pipe stabilized. Then I got to come back and get that valve wrapped up before I can go any further. Okay, I have 8 buckets of sand in here. I have it down here as well. Now, what I'm going to do, I went through this and stepped it down, which is why you could start to see the pipe there as this sand packs in. Now, what I'm going to do is water this down and then use the tamper, which is right there. Tamp it real good, and then I'll add some more sand. And once I get it pretty much flat and tamped down real well, I'll finish putting in the curb stop, and I'm not exactly sure what I'll be able to get done today. I know I should be able to get the curb stop in and the foam on the bottom here. I'm not exactly sure how much I'll get done after that, but we'll see. All right, let's get this sprinkled with water and get it tamped. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing here. This is all different widths, at least it is back there. This is a little bit more uniform. I think this is 24 inches right here, I hope it is. So I cut a piece for back there, and then I have the next piece right there. What I'm going to do is get this piece in there as long as I can. I think I have a 4-foot chunk. We'll get that in there, and then put that next piece in there, and then another piece here. We'll get to where it ramps down, and then we'll figure out how to do that when we get to it. This thing right here, that is just an area right by where this thing drains out, where it can drain really quick into clean gravel, and the clean gravel is in a landscaping fabric bag so that it doesn't all silt up. This thing's rarely going to be turned off, but when it is, I don't want it to take forever to drain down into here, or I don't want it to get clogged up. I also need to bridge across here and brace this thing straight up. Once I get a couple pieces of foam in here, a couple thicknesses, these openings are going to get foamed with more foam. So yeah, let's get going. I think I'm going to brace that right away. Oh no, I can't brace it right away because the next piece slides over the top of this. So let's get that piece in, and then the next 2 pieces on the top, get this braced, and we may be done for the day. It's getting kind of late already. Okay, I got all of the foam in, and I still have a little bit of spray foam to do, but I have to do something else first. So that's basically it for this. Once I get these rocks off of here, I'm going to spray this last foam in some of the gaps and stuff, and that'll hold the stuff in place really well. Once the rocks are off of this, I have a bunch of scrap foam that I'm going to toss in the trench, and then I can start backfilling it. I have 2 ditches to dig over here, and I'll put a lot of that dirt right down into here. So that's going to end this video. I have a riser to put in here that will come up into the building. That's going to be a pretty interesting video. It's a PVC pipe that's insulated with 2-inch foam. Okay, jump into the future a little bit. This is, I think, 2 days after I made this video, and we'll just shove this in there. We insulated and bedded, well, we bedded the whole thing and bedded it in sand up to here, and that's been backfilled a good deal right now. Not all the way. He has to come with the machine and do the rest. But what I did was take the last of the foam and laid it over the pipe as a cushion. I'm going to backfill this by hand a little bit, and then it should be all ready for the backhoe when he gets here. I just don't want any pointy stones or anything right up against the pipe, and this will keep it from doing that. Okay, we need to test this before we start backfilling this. I have it shut off right here. See what this does. Got the hose. You can see it right there. Ooh, oh, that's good. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. And I could hear it leaking out down there from that little port. So, all is well. Working just as designed. I just have to make sure that this riser, geez, I have to go down there and put that on. I don't want anything getting down in there. As I was trying to say before I clumsily dropped that, I just got to make sure that this remains pretty much plumb while I'm backfilling this. And I'll be backfilling around the riser pipe, and I have to drive this rod down into the earth down there. I found a spot where there's not boulders, well, at least for a while. I have to drive another rod over there. We're going to be putting this deck in pretty soon, and this is one of the major things that had to happen before the deck can get put on. But there's several other things that have to go on in here before we start framing that out. But I think I'll be able to start framing probably in 2 or 3 days. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.